Welcome to the Ladybug Laboratory podcast. This is a show all about knitting and crafting, and I will be your host, Lily. Today that I am recording with this background in my house is Sunday, May 6th. However, there will be segments that I recorded last week on Sunday, April 30th at the Black Squirrel in Berkeley. So, today we have a bunch of different segments. We have finished objects, other crafting, which today is cross stitch, my February yardage totals. I'm going to give a shop tour of the Black Squirrel, and that's about it. Some housekeeping. You can find us on Ravelry. The group is the Ladybug Laboratory Podcast group. My Instagram and Ravelry stuff will all be down there in the group. We have an Ask Away thread. There are some giveaways and various other things. We just finished a mini skein swap. Anything else I want to add? Oh, today I am drinking an incredibly delicious tea out of this mug, which is from Twisted, which is a knitting store that is in Portland, and I got this on the Seattle to Portland yarn train. And I love it. The reason when I get to the segments that are recorded in the shop that I am up there is because I worked there that day and the train comes up about an hour and a half early, so I did some recording before the shop opened. So today I am wearing my Tuscarora top, which I knit a couple of years ago. I'm wearing it for Me Made May. And one other thing I did want to bring attention to is the fact that I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm also not wearing contacts. My glasses are super shimmery and there's always reflections on them, so I'm trying this. I have no idea if anything is on the screen because I can't see it. I can't see if it's focusing. I'm just hoping that it is. So good luck with that. All right, let's get started. All right, so for today, here are some finished objects that I've got. And I'm going to start with the first one that is on my neck. This is the Star Shower Cowl, and I knit it with US size 7s. And I used Wee Chickadee Woolery in the Woodless Path, A Walk in the Woods, Woodless Path, I think. Colorway. I'll put it in the down bar. But this is from Wee Chickadee Woolery. I love this. So just for the record, I don't know if this is focusing, but this is Star Shower Cowl. Last time that you saw it, I was on the 4th lace section right here. And since then, I have finished it. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite pieces to wear. I wear it all the time. It is so comfortable. It looks a little bit wonky with this shirt because of the lace, but whatever. I don't even care. I just love this. It is so comfortable. It is my colors. I'm so glad I went up a size from the last time that I did it, a needle size. It made a huge difference. I didn't have to add any repeats. I just knit the pattern exactly as it was, and I just love the way that it fits. So that is my first finished object, and I love the colors. Isn't this yarn gorgeous? Oh my gosh. I was nervous at first because there were like little sections of pooling like this, like right there, but it ended up being totally fine. I adore it. I have 2 more finished objects to show you today. Nope, 2 more to show you and 1 to talk about. So, first up, I have a pair of socks, and these are my Yes Sir Cat and Tight Pants socks for my husband. You had seen most of these done already. I was just working on the Afterthought heels. So last time that you saw it, I had just started this Afterthought heel. I had done this section. And the yarn is Into the World Pakoku sock, which is, I believe, is an 80-20 or 75-25 superwash merino nylon. 4-ply. And it is in the colorway Yes Sir Captain Tight Pants, and it is resist dyed. And then the heels, the contrast heels, are done in Knit Picks Stroll Brights in the electric blue, I believe, colorway. And that was just some leftovers that I had. Oh wait, no, I haven't used these yet. Not leftovers. But anyway, so last time you saw it, I had just started this heel, so I finished this heel, and then I did the second one. These are for my husband. After I have shown them on the podcast, I am going to take the Progress Keeper out and then wrap them up for Christmas. So yeah, those are those socks. Okay. The next finished object that I have to show, I am not going to, well, this podcast is going to wait to go live until this arrives at its destination. Yeah. So, if you don't watch the Color and Life podcast with Jennifer and John Michael, hi, if you're watching, you should. They are wonderful human beings. I love everything they do. And I think it would have been in, gosh, about a year ago at this point, they had a mini skein set dyed for them by Dog Dare Knits. I think I'll put it in the down bar. And I got the mini skein set, and I didn't really know what to do with it. It's inspired by their podcast, so I put the minis in my blanket, right? But immediately before I got the mini skein set, I was hemming and hawing about getting it. Immediately before I got it, they have a therapy alpaca on their show, and it is a hand puppet alpaca. And therapy alpaca, it helps them through frogging and various other things. And John Michael made a joke about how they should make a jester hat for the therapy alpaca. So I did. So this is the Party Time hat pattern, which is out of print, but I managed to track it down from the designer. And I used all 5 of the minis. The original hat pattern is human sized, and it's on worsted weight yarn, so I just did fingering weight yarn on Haya Haya US 2s. I tried to use my Chiagu interchangeables, but the 2s are in the small set, not the sock set, and so the cable's a lot thicker and it just wasn't working, so for such a small diameter. So I used a Haya Haya fixed that I had somewhere. And yeah, so the construction of this is incredibly unique. So you start with just like a stockinette rib, and then you do, so the main color that I picked was the peach one from the mini skein set. Then you do your 4 contrast colors, and I'm not going to give the pattern away, but it's really cool the way that you make these points at the top. So there are 5 points like a little star, and I am conflicted on whether or not I am going to add little pom-poms on the end. I might. I mean, there's 5 points, so I might do a tiny pom-pom of each color, and then maybe one in the middle. I'm not sure about that. I wish I could say, let me know your thoughts, but I'm not going to have this by the time this airs because I know they're going to watch it. Well, Jennifer probably will. John Michael, I don't think he does, but yeah, so John Michael joked about making a jester hat for the therapy alpaca. So I have made a jester hat for the therapy alpaca. And part of the reason that I did this now, I was going to wait until Christmas, was because I'm doing the mini skein swap, and unfortunately the mini skein swap is over. Sorry everybody, but each of the minis had 20 grams, so I put them in my blanket, and then I made this, and the idea was I wanted to see how much I had left over of each color to see if I could send out the rest of those to sort of share the love. And the good news is I have about 12 to 15 grams of each color left over. So that is awesome. This really did not use that much yarn, even though it looks like it did. So this is adorable. I may have to make another version of this with other scraps that I have for an actual human child. I'm going to attempt to model this on my cats before I send it out. wish me luck. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with this. I made it yesterday, on Saturday. Took me about 5 or 6 hours to do the knitting, and then probably another half hour or so to do all the seaming and stuff. There's not that much seaming, but there are a lot of ends. I tried to sort of carry the peach main color up, but it was not working, so I just had to cut every single time. So I think I had like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8. I had like 28 or 30 ends. So yeah, quite a few ends. But yeah, I really like how it came out. I wish they hung down a little bit more, but I think it's because I did it in fingering in such a small gauge that this is going on. But yeah, that is my third finished object. And the last one I don't have with me. I also couldn't bring them with me to show you. They are some hot pads that I made. And returning viewers will know that there was this whole situation with this blanket that I am currently still working on. More on that later, or previously, depending on when this comes. For my godmother, because of her grandmother, blah, 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 blah. If you want the details on that, go back and watch a previous episode. But the short version is her life is kind of terrible right now. About 2 years ago, her grandmother died. She sent me all her old acrylic yarn. Was never going to use it. Decided to make something out of the yarn for her because her life is terrible, and discovered a whole bunch of hexagons in the box, so I decided to finish the blanket. Well, there were a bunch of hexagons that didn't go in the blanket, so I ended up using them to make little hot pads, and one for every person in the family. So there's my godmother, her husband. She has 4 kids, and then 2 of the kids are married, so that's 8. Yeah. So, I took some of the hexagons, and then what I did is I'll put a picture in here. The hexagons had like holes in them, and so I made single crochet hexagons of approximately the same size, and I put that to go on the back, so it's like double-sided, and then I just single crocheted a border all the way around the edge. Yeah, so they're really thick, and I think they're going to be really good hot pads, actually, or trivets, or whatever you call them. But I wrapped them up in tissue paper, and I'm going to send them off. They're in like a little bag that's labeled Christmas 2018. So it's like a little gift bag. So I have the big box that she sent the yarn in originally. I'm going to finish the blanket, put the blanket in there, put a note in there, and then in the side is this bag that's labeled Christmas 2018. So they'll pull out the hot pads in Christmas 2018. So that'll be nice. So those are the only other finished objects that I had.
Hi everybody, this is me, Lily, with a mysterious voice because I recorded 2 different segments with my camera, and my camera is of course on my phone. My battery was dying, and what ended up happening is I accidentally recorded all of the sections in between my segments where I was readjusting and setting things up, and then turned the camera off during all the sections when I was actually recording. So I am just going to do a voiceover of a couple of pictures here. So this segment is about my non-knitting crafts, and today that is cross stitch. The first one isn't really something that I worked on in this time, but it is a finished project that I just wanted to show. You guys have seen the finished project already, but I finally had it framed. Michael's was having a framing sale, so I sent it on over, and you're currently looking at a picture of it framed. It is for my cousin, and her 3-year anniversary is coming up, and so that's when she's going to get it. This cousin, incidentally, is the daughter of the aunt that I am making the blanket for, so she's also the recipient of one of the hot pads, as is her husband. And then the second part of cross stitch that I wanted to show you, I took a picture here of where I was when I recorded. This is a cross stitch that I am working on, and it is for a different cousin of mine who, incidentally, is the brother of the previous cross stitch. So his wedding was actually quite recently. It was in February, I believe. And so I've been working on this. This is something that, so I have accidentally messed up all of the lining things up for the C and the rest of the word come, and I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm going to rip it all out yet or not. I think I'm going to do the rest of it first. I started and then it was just taking forever. It was taking me longer to pull the threads out than it had taken me to stitch them in the first place, and so I was just so fed up with it. And it was so frustrating because what happened is I had a migraine at the time that I was doing it, and so my vision wasn't super great, and I missed a single column on the chart. And so everything got all wonky and messed up, and because, you know, that column it went over one extra column, but also it went down. And so when I was lining things up with that column, it would have lined up with this previous column. And so the height got all messed up and then the width got all messed up, and it was just really awful. So let me know if you think it's worth pulling it out. But I also got a fancy new cross stitch frame that is sitting on, which makes cross stitch much more enjoyable, and I anticipate I will be doing quite a bit more of it in the future. So yeah, taking you back to me that had a face.
So moving on to February's stash totals. February is pretty long. Okay, it covers almost an entire page. I don't know why my cat is meowing outside the door. Probably wants to be let in. February I went to Stitches West, so it's quite a bit. But I finished some slippers, my stern taller socks, my spin, and I counted that. I have a really complicated way of doing that. Basically, when I get fiber, every ounce I get, I count as 50 yards added to my stash. And then once I spin it, I subtract all of the extra, or add all the extra, depending. So I was able to subtract 18 yards by spinning that up. And then, of course, subtract the yards that I actually have when I knit them. Anyway, so I ended with 995 yards used and about 4,700 added. So that brought me to 3,700-ish more in my stash, plus the stuff from January. That leaves me with 5,596 yards more in my stash at the end of February than I had at the beginning of the year. So today's stash love isn't really even a knitting stash. It is this pair of earrings. You get to see my peacock neck as I try not to bump the camera. But these are hand-painted flowers. And I am absolutely in love with them. So I got these on Lily's Woodland Knits on Etsy, and obviously I had to, first of all, they were beautiful, amazingly gorgeous, and I fell in love with them. And then I discovered that they were lilies, and the shop was Lily's Woodland Flowers. Lily's Woodland Flowers, not Lily's Woodland Knits. It's all jewelry. Duh. But they came in this really adorable package that I just wanted to show you guys. They are so beautiful and so beautifully made. I love them. She has a lot of different colorations. Some of them are hand painted, some of them are not. But I just, oh my gosh, look at that. I really wish it would focus. I just really love these. So that is my, I'm trying to do air quotes and I'm holding an earring back and it's not working. That is my stash love for today. It's just, you know, something that a maker made, and I really appreciate what they made. Yeah. Alright everybody, so as I probably mentioned before, I am at the Black Squirrel in Berkeley, and I'm here about half an hour before opening, which is why I am recording, an hour and a half before opening, and so I thought I would give you guys a quick tour of the shop. Here we go. So I'll start with what it's like outside. This is the train station that is across the street. That's how I get here. And this is the shop. So there's the logo, the Black Squirrel, and as you can see, hanging from the great are some acorns and leaves, and those were a yarn bombing gift from a mutual friend of ours when Chase opened the shop. So here we go. We are entering the shop. And here's what it looks like as you enter. Up front, we've got, of course, the register, and we've got some new orders that have come in over there. And over here is the wall of indie-dyed yarn. So this is entirely hand-dyed independent dyers, and it's organized by color, which I just love. It looks gorgeous. At the top, we have a whole bunch of project bags and sample knits. And a lot of people ask, well, if it's organized by color, what if you're looking for a certain weight of yarn? And what you do is you go up to a cube. Let's do this one. And this is the thickest yarn, and it goes all the way around up to the thinnest yarn, which is usually fingering. So here is the wall of indie dyed yarn. Over here, we have apple tree knits gradients and some fiber. In the back here, it's a little bit wonky right now because, as you can see over there, we're actually building a loom. But this is the workspace. It's got looms and sewing machines and tables and blocking. And coming back over here, right now we have a Webster Street Knittery trunk show. So all of these patterns are from Webster Street Knittery. We've got some yarn down there. And I guess I will just start over here. So all sorts of needles, notions of various kinds. It's fun. Every time I come in, I notice something new. And more up top, some yarn bowls. Then over here we've got a little bit more commercially dyed yarns. So these are still nice quality, but they're definitely on the budget side. And then a whole bunch of other notions, lots of little cards and scissors, zippers, various things like that, sock blockers. And now we're entering the fabric section. So this is mostly apparel fabric. You can see the little collection of squirrels at the top there. Then over here, we've got some more fabric. So lots of quilting cottons, as well as corduroys, some denim, bathroom, of course. And then if we continue around, excuse me, okay. So we continue around this way. That's the train station through the window, and this is a whole bunch of books, knitting area, more yarns. This is a children's play area. Then over here we've got the Swift, ball winder, some bags, and down here we have all sorts of little craft kits. A lot of times when kids come in, that's where they go. Various embroidery and cross-stitch materials, sewing threads, felting, more sort of kits. And up at the top here we have some sewing patterns and supplies for that. Pom-poms. That's cashmere yarn, actually. Ball winders, soaps and lotions, and books on how to make those. And then this is all bamboo and cotton yarns. It's gonna have trouble showing you the colors, but there they all are. Blocking mats on the bottom. And in the middle, got our Webster Street Knittery trunk show. And this is just a table of loveliness. So we've got some pins, some thimbles, some candles, graph paper for knitting, which is like really cool because it's gauge swatch graph paper. So the proportions, it's not square. Various catrinkles, generally laser cut wood, jumbo needles and crochet hooks and yarn. All sorts of stuff going on here. And then over here we have the fabric cutting station. So if you order fabric, this is where we cut it. And we've got batting on the bottom for quilting. And that is pretty much the shop. So this is where I spend a lot of my time when I just want to get out of home and relax. And yeah, I absolutely love it here. It's like my home away from home. Alrighty, bye.
And finally, the other segment that I lost was my conclusion. So that's all for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Have a great time with everything that you do. Happy crafting. Bye!